J.J. McCarthy. Take the handoff. And Alec Menace is going to throw a pick. They give it to Corum. Up back. Corum. Touchdown, Wolverine. Ruben Wilson does it again. Corum finds some daylight. He's got some speed and some blocker. Outside. Turns the corner. Blake Corum down the sideline. Looking over the middle. Caught. Touchdown, Wolverine. McCarthy extends the play, now uses legs. McCarthy a first down.
Well, good evening, everybody. Here we are again, and I've got TJ there already. I blew the surprise. TJ, hang on. We'll be right back with you.
Wow.
Michigan's recruiting strategy is on our minds tonight. Has it changed, or what do we have to look forward to? Also, we're going to be talking about who will be on Michigan's starting lineup this season, and we want to say goodbye and thank you to NCAA 14 with a little trip down memory lane brought to you by Mac. Also, we have a guest tonight, I think. Did we say we have a guest? I can't remember exactly. Yeah, okay, we got a guest. Yeah.
We had somebody. It's on
Nothing ever goes smoothly. We do have TJ Ronan from Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. He is going to be with us in just a few minutes to talk Michigan recruiting, Michigan strategies, and all of that stuff that he is a genius at. We're going to talk about all this, plus your chats right here on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show, expert trash talk, unrivaled analysis. We look at the Big Ten from a Michigan perspective. I am your host, Cliff. With me, as always, is Mac. Mac, how are you doing over there?
Dude, it's finally here. It's finally here. So early reviews of the game are that it's really good. I had a tweet that I was supposed to, I forgot who tweeted it. But they said that the only knock on the game is that playing with Georgia is nearly impossible because you spend the first 2 hours of the game bailing kids out of Clark County Jail.
Ouch. Is it really that bad down there?
Apparently, yeah. They had multiple kids get arrested for doing things in cars or whatever.
Doing things in cars.
Illegal things. I think they were going too fast and they got DUIs. Don't quote me on that because I don't want to ruin their lives.
Well, while we're getting moving here, everybody in the chat, don't forget to drop your comments in there for TJ when he comes on to talk about Michigan recruiting. Before we get to that, we have the check down, which we're gonna make sure this works. I've got all kinds of different things to move around here because nothing ever works the way it's supposed to the first time, as you saw if you saw the beginning of the show. But here we are on the check down. The check down is where we bring you what we assume is the latest news in the world of college sports. Mac, feel free to comment at will.
We assume?
We assume, yes.
Is this not the latest news? Or is it not? What is it?
It could be. You never know. Oh, shoot. I forgot. And one more thing I forgot to do.
What?
Hold on. I got to... Why is it not? Oh, my goodness. It's always something. Now it's not going to advance on me. Wait a minute. Nope. I'm getting there. Well, I want to go. Okay, well, I had these really cool graphics made up. Let me see if I can do it this way. Nope. There we go.
There we go.
I have to delete the previous one. Man, it's always something. All right, let me start over. This is the check down. We want to talk about the old men of college football. And you know what? I guess this works out because I just had a senior moment here trying to figure out electronics. And I am a web developer, a programmer. I know multiple programming languages. And yet, Streamlabs is a mystery to me. As you know, Cam Rising of Utah, Alan Bowman of Oklahoma State, and Jake Tuttle of Michigan are entering their seventh year of college football. And there are a number of reasons this is happening, like the classic redshirting and medical waivers. Players can also get hardship waivers for an illness in the family or a natural disaster. I learned you can also get a waiver if the school gives you bad academic advice, which is probably a good call. They tell you to take the wrong class, they mess you up. You can get an extra year of eligibility in football if they tell you the wrong class to go to.
Wait, so I still have a year of eligibility at Western then?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because they screwed me. Well, I shouldn't have stopped there. They screwed me. Anyway.
Well, okay, what I think this amounts to, since we're talking about the new EA Sports College Football 25, I think they're really missing out on a great opportunity for this video game. So we know that they dropped the Road to Glory option, right? Where you can develop a player from high school to college or through college. What they really need is a Road to Glory Days option, where you finish your 4 years of eligibility, you miss out on the NFL draft, but you keep playing college ball and be a kind of father figure to the rest of the team where you constantly reminisce about the old days. And because the games are so realistic now, you can also adapt your avatar with a beer belly and a receding hairline.
That was good. That was a good one.
Thank you. Notre Dame is apparently missing out on top 100 recruits. This one comes from The Athletic. Why is Notre Dame losing top 100 recruits? Did you hear about this one?
No, except for the one that they lost to Michigan.
Ivan Taylor, a DB who was committed to Notre Dame, has flipped to Michigan, which is good news for Michigan, but Notre Dame has lost out on 4 top 100 prospects, and fans are worried. Keep in mind, they've lost 4 of the top 100 over the last 4 years, which puts Notre Dame roughly in the middle of the pack for elite programs' top 100 recruiting losses. I'm not sure why they're even upset about this, but there's been enough pushback that I've heard through completely unreliable sources that the Pope is getting involved. Notre Dame is a Catholic school, after all. From here on out, the Pope said in Latin, presumably, that a decommit from Notre Dame will also be considered excommunication from the church. I'm not Catholic, but this sounds drastic, but I suppose you have to take drastic action when your head coach can't count to 11. That's the 10-man defense joke, if you remember.
Yeah. We all remember.
We all remember that one. Conference realignment is big right now. It appears that conference realignment is far from over, though. Just this year, Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA joined the Big Ten. In fact, it was official, I believe, last week. Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah defected to the Big 12. But recently, realignment took on a whole new meaning. Sports Illustrated is reporting that Clemson and Florida State are flirting with the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that curious and decided to look into some of the relationship statuses in the rest of college football. Turns out the Ohio State University was in a relationship with Cincinnati until Cincinnati got into the playoffs in 2021. Their status has since been downgraded to it's complicated. Indiana and Purdue are actually in a love triangle with Notre Dame, but Notre Dame cannot make up its mind and choose one.
That's just polyamory.
Well, sure.
Polyfootballery.
You may have noticed last year that Illinois was very sad and Northwestern was very happy. We can only assume they finally broke up. Minnesota, however, is lonely. So very cold and lonely. Nebraska and Iowa are running around in the cornfields together, if you know what I mean. There's a rumor that Michigan cheated on Michigan State. And when Michigan State confronted Michigan about it, Michigan responded, "You're being hysterical." And that, as we all know, is how fights get started. And that's all I could find out about that. Any thoughts, Mac?
I don't know. I was still of the opinion that Michigan State was Michigan's little brother. Now I just feel a little gross inside.
Does feel awkward. Yeah, when you put it in that context, it feels a little awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying not to laugh at my own jokes. But if I don't, who will? This has been the Check Down. If you like what you've seen so far, give us a like. And as long as you're there, slide a little bit over to the left there and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. And at this point, I believe it's time to bring on our guest. I got to close that, and then we're back.
Come on. I mean,
he still wants to come on after all of that. Yeah. No, I got so many buttons to push. Our guest is the co-host of Michigan Wolverines co-host of Michigan Wolverines at Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. He is the co-host of Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. He has his own show, Michigan Wolverines Live Call-In Show. He is a recruiting aficionado, and as we've learned recently on X, has committed to Michigan on EA Sports College Football 25 because he bleeds blue. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TJ Ronan. TJ, how are you doing over there?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, Cliff, I thought you were computer savvy. You know,
I thought I was too.
There we go.
No, it's and I remembered to do. We've got some more slides later. I remembered to set up the shortcuts for those, but I forgot to set up the shortcuts for this one. It's one of those things I'm still learning. We learn more and more every time we do this show, and every episode I learn something that I did wrong last time.
Dad's about as computer savvy as John Connor.
Okay.
Terminator Salvation is actually. Terminator Salvation is actually one of my favorite movies. It's very therapeutic for me because so many machines get destroyed. I have wanted to.
They keep coming back though, man.
They do. I know. I heard there's a new one. Terminator Zero is supposed to be coming out in the next couple of years. With I forgot who the guy is. Maybe he might be an unknown guy, but I forgot who he is.
Pass.
But yeah, the Terminator is one of my favorite movies because they destroy machines, and because I get so frustrated programming, I love to destroy machines.
I mean, I feel like you should be an iRobot fan.
I should. Oh, that's a good movie too. Yeah,
great movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, especially with Will Smith.
I forgot about that movie. How do
they actually defeat the robots?
No,
it's over. You know, Terminator. Right. They keep going back though. So I don't know.
Going back to the well and corrupting it. Yeah. TJ, why don't you give us a breakdown? Let us know who you are, what you do. I know I said it a little bit, but I kind of messed it up there. Give us the rundown. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm TJ Ronan. You can find me at TJ_Ronan on Twitter. I am part of Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. That's our channel. We have a Tuesday show, Michigan Wolverines Live at 8 p.m. We have a Thursday call-in show, Michigan Wolverines call-in show live at 8 p.m. And yeah, man, we're just following the team and giving our best analysis we can give and looking forward to the season because we're about 50 days away, 49 or something like that. I don't know, something
48 to the first Big Ten game. Yeah, I think we're like 48. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready for. The game comes out now. We got the ball. We got like fall camp in about a month. So a little less than a month. So looking forward to it.
I know it's always kind of wild. It's like you get to the doldrums of like spring and summer. And it's like, oh, is football ever going to happen? And then we get within 2 months, and it's all of a sudden you can like feel the anticipation. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got media days. I mean, another thing, Voice of College Football. We have some representatives going to Big Ten media days. That's cool. We got the new Voice of College Football Twitter account that we just launched on 7/1. We are going to have an Instagram and Facebook account also launching on August 1st. So yeah, I mean, big things happening with the network, as you guys are a part of, which we appreciate greatly. You guys have the Tuesday Smash the Numbers segment on our channel, which is always fun. Always fun.
Wait a minute. Smash the Numbers is Ferris.
Oh, should I say Smash the Numbers? That's
yep.
Right. I was just texting Ferris actually. So all right. We're trying to figure out we got an interview we're trying to release, but there's like a bunch of red tape with it. So I was just texting him. So that's on my mind right now. But point a minute, apologies. But yeah, no, that's a lot of fun. That segment's a lot of fun.
No, that's all right. That makes me feel better when somebody else makes a mistake.
Yeah, and I should know that because I've been working on the damn thumbnail for a week.
I know. Yeah, you've been working hard on those. I saw. I did actually watch. If you haven't seen, for everybody out there, if you haven't seen Ferris's Smash the Numbers, it's really good. Give it a view. I did watch the one what he just put out. I think it was today, and he has his picture of him and Harbaugh. Yeah, he met Harbaugh in the airport. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I told him to get a video of him saying subscribe to Voice of College Football, but he couldn't. Yeah. He didn't quite stick the landing on that.
Didn't happen.
Apparently Harbaugh. I don't know if he wants me to share this because he might share. I don't know if he shared it on his video or not, but apparently Harbaugh was sitting like coach and not first class.
Yep.
So that's hilarious.
Wait, so Jim Harbaugh, a coach, was sitting in coach.
Yeah. Hey, he mows his own lawn, so I'm not surprised.
John's giving you some crap there. I just wanted to point that out.
I think it's more of a shout out, but yeah, all right, we'll take it.
All right, TJ, I have, and John will remember this. John was the first one to suffer through our 3 questions. I've got 3 questions for you. These are quick answer questions that we like to do so our guests can, so our audience can get more familiar with our guests, kind of learn about the man behind the microphone, let's say.
Although this is a unique circumstance where your audience is also our audience. So technically they already know you, but it's a tradition. So we're going to do it anyway.
Let's do it.
But I guarantee you at least 2 of these questions have never been asked on Michigan football at the Voice of College Football. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Pizza or calzone?
Good question. We're going to go pizza, but calzones are good.
Pizza, yes. Is correct. All right. Jason Bourne or Jack Bauer?
Jason Bourne.
Jason. All right. Good deal. All right. This is the really tough one. What?
You were an avid 24 fan.
I was, but Jason Bourne is better. Jack Bauer is cool. Kiefer Sutherland is awesome.
I don't know who you are anymore.
Matt Damon is Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
nails it.
I like Matt Damon.
All right, that's fine.
All right, last one. This is going to be the tough one. Harbaugh or Schembechler?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It is Harbaugh, though, but Schembechler's a legend, but it is Harbaugh. He won a national title. Yeah, he brought Michigan back. I mean, so did Schembechler, but we're going to go with Harbaugh. I mean, I could go on about it, but Harbaugh took the the mantle there.
Yep. I think John said the same thing, that it was because I asked him that same one, and he said, Harbaugh brought home the national championship. As legendary as Schembechler is, won so many Big Ten championships, 198 wins, I think it was, over his 20 years. Still didn't get the national championship, which, and you can take it however you want. I remember Schembechler saying that he always wanted to beat the guy in the backyard. He believed in regional football. So he wanted to beat everybody in the Big Ten. He didn't necessarily care about people on the other side of the country, which is why we often lost to USC and UCLA.
Well, it would have been nice if they had the playoff back then, I mean, because a lot of
would have been wild, yeah.
If you look at how they decided the Rose Bowl back then, or how they decided national champions, I don't know. We're in a better system now. I do think it's getting a little extreme, though, with the 14 teams. But which I know we're in 12, but it's really going to be 14 in a few years. But I think the system is better now to have a playoff, because I think that is the best way to decide a true national champion.
Now, back before the playoff system, when the Rose Bowl was just the Big Ten and the Pac-10 at that point, it was whoever had the most wins in the Big Ten, whoever had the most wins in the Pac-10, right? I mean, that was essentially how it worked.
Unless there's like a tiebreaker, some silly ass tiebreaker, but yeah.
Right, yeah. And otherwise, you just had to be invited to a bowl game.
Yeah, but you have like a threshold of I don't know how long it goes back, but eventually they made it. They had to have 6 wins to get into a bowl game. But there wasn't as many bowl games prior to the 90s, or even the 2000s. That stuff got crazy. 12 years ago, 15 years ago.
There's 44 bowl games this year.
Yeah, it's nuts now. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, now
I'm a fan. I was going to say I'm a fan of the Pop-Tart Bowl, though. The Pop-Tart Bowl. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. The mascot.
Yeah, they went all out on that. If every bowl game did that, then sure, let's have as many bowl games as we want. But
and I like the Idaho Potato Bowl because the commercials are fun. So that's good. So
that's true. Western Michigan goes to the Idaho Potato Bowl a lot for some reason, and the commercials are kind of funny. So I'll give you that one.
Before we get to Mac's monologue here, I just want to give a shout out to Blue Wolverine coming through again with that super chat. Thank you very much.
Hey, all right. Thank you.
Apparently, he's already playing college football 25. He's got 48 on OSU. Nice.
Yeah, because the deluxe version came out today.
Yeah, I'm not paying extra money for that.
Yeah. Is that what happened today? Because I'm seeing all over Twitter people are playing the game, and then I looked it up, and it doesn't come out until Friday.
Yeah, the one I'm getting, so I'm getting a hard copy. I like getting the physicals, and I'm waiting until Friday. I'm not paying an extra $20, $30 to, I think it's 20, but I'm not paying the extra money just to get it 5 days earlier. I could give it. I could care less. Whatever, 5 days, I'll save my money.
Right.
I agree with that.
All right, Mac, you ready to get into your monologue?
Hey, hold on though. All
right.
But to anyone who did buy it, hey, respect, because you guys do, you guys got a head start on the rest of us. So when we play online, you might beat me the first week or two, but after that, I'm coming for it.
That's going to be cool. I have to get the whole setup. I don't have an Xbox, so I'm going to have to go buy an Xbox and get the game.
I have to buy a new Xbox. They didn't release it for Xbox One, so I have to buy a new. I have
Right.
to buy a Series X.
Well, you could go Series
wow.
S, which is cheaper. I have a Series X.
Yeah.
The way I look at it's this. I mean, the system should last you for about 4 to 5 years, and then even after and what I mean by that is a new system is going to come out, right? And
Right.
then, but you know, as a new system comes out, you typically have like a 2 to 3 year window where games are kind of multi-platform. So I went with a Series X just because it's a high performer, but and the price has gone down.
Yeah, it has, and you can get a used one for a pretty decent price too.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah,
Shut up, boys. Thank you.
I'd have to do the Series X because I have like 100 physical copies of video games, all for
That's
the
what I
Xbox
like.
360.
That's
so,
how they got me, bastards. I mean, I would have did the Series S, but I like physical copies because, like, I don't trust the, you know, I don't know if you guys saw, I think it was PlayStation where the license got taken from one of the games. So everyone who had the digital version lost the game. And like, I think it was PlayStation. I could be wrong. There's probably a gamer out there like this guy's an idiot, but one of the systems, I think it was PlayStation, where the license got taken and everyone lost their digital download. And it's like, I'm over it. I don't know. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Well, they should hang on to the receipt. I don't know. I can go on a tangent about that, but you hang on to like the receipt and then turn that in, and whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we go too much farther, because your monologue is about NCAA 14, so let's get into that.
All right.
Let me see here. Actually, I could probably just leave that right there. Okay. Here we are. Mac's monologue. Mac is going to give the monologue, and then we'll talk about it.
All
Mac,
right.
go.
Real quick, I just want to say this one, you're going to need a box of tissues, so get those ready. I myself am just going to go ahead and prepare real quick. Holy crap.
Let me know you got to mute that, man.
I'm sorry. My allergies are terrible, man.
This is why we get paid the big bucks. We're professionals.
Horrible thunderstorm last night that just took up all of the pollen and just everywhere. All right, here we go. Today, we lay to rest NCAA Football 14. It is, for all intents and purposes, a perfect game. It allowed us to live out our dreams of playing or coaching a championship-winning football team. Its replayability was unbeatable for a sports game at the time, and frankly, currently as well. Its game engine put Madden to shame, so much so that I picked up Madden 17, played it for an hour, and then switched back to NCAA 14. Side note, that was before the Lions were good, so I played as the Lions, got all the way down into the red zone and threw an interception, so actually that game is pretty realistic for the time. NCAA 14 is one of 2 video games I have purchased on the literal day of release, and one of only 4 video games I have purchased at full price. Yes, I keep track of that. I bought it at a Target in Syracuse, New York. What I was doing there is absolutely none of your business, so don't ask. I don't want to relive that trip. I remember plugging it into my Xbox 360 Elite, grabbing a box of Cheez-Its and an Arizona iced tea, and playing the game for hours on end. I've won probably 100 national championships with Michigan and a handful of them with Western Michigan. Also won randomly with Fresno State. Actually, I decided to do that one time. I played as Ohio State for a season, but then deleted that game because I just felt gross and sad. There was nothing quite like hanging out with friends and destroying Michigan State together, or playing a game with my dad after work in which I could brutally destroy him because I'm just that much better at video games than he is. In all honesty, it feels a little lame to say, and maybe it is, but NCAA 14 actually meant a lot to me. It's a game I played to not only forget some of Michigan's most heartbreaking losses, like 2016 Ohio State, or 2016 Iowa, or all of 2017, and 2014 and 2013 and 2008, 2009, you get it. But it's a game I went back to when I needed to clear my head during one of the more tumultuous periods of life. School was hard, life was harder, but I was always able to escape it with this game. And I think a lot of other people felt the same way, which is why we were all devastated when the NCAA told us they wanted the fun to end. It didn't make them any more money, you see, and they had to take the moral high ground when the rest of us just wanted to play the freaking game. We said, take the players out of the game, make it so there's no resemblance at all. But still they took it from us and plunged us into a decade of pain, misery, and darkness. But no more. Next week we emerge. Actually, today we emerge. I wrote this a week ago. Today we emerge from this darkness with a brand new version of every football fan's favorite video game. But before we do, let's take a moment to reflect and appreciate all of the wonderful moments that NCAA 14 gave us. For without it, we Michigan fans may have never survived some of our darkest moments, like the 2013 Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. I don't know why that one randomly popped into my head while writing this, but holy crap, that game was awful. It started at 10:15, and Buffalo Wild Wings didn't even carry it. They were showing UFC, whatever. Anyway. So right now, I just want to end this by saying thank you, NCAA 14, for everything.
If you like Mac's monologue, give the show a like, leave a comment, leave a chat. Now,
I just want to say that was beautiful.
go ahead.
Thank
It
you.
was beautiful, man.
It was very nice.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate
I could tell you wrote with from the heart.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
it really meant something to you, and I can appreciate that.
I really appreciate you appreciating how much I appreciate this, because it meant a lot to me. I
appreciate that, dude.
So, okay, for realsies though, I saw on Twitter a GIF of, at the end of Harry Potter and the last one, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, when Harry's all grown up and he's watching his kid go off to Hogwarts for the first time. The caption of the GIF was what?
Does he?
Yeah.
Damn it. I got to rewatch it. I love Harry Potter. I don't even remember though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. At the end of Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, he watches his kid go off to Hogwarts, and the GIF this guy posted of it on Twitter, he captioned it with "my Xbox 360 when I load up CFB 25 for the first time." And I just almost started crying. Oh my gosh.
Bro, the 360 was the best system I ever had.
The Xbox 360 is the greatest game system to have ever been made. I've had every Xbox. That's the best one. Yep. I have had my 360 Elite since I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school. And it works basically the same way it did when I first bought it. It is a perfect system.
Yeah, I remember when you got that first one. I had what was the the original Xbox, because we had the original Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember that you had saved up, and I think you were within $50.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I gave you the other $50 just because it was I think it was Christmas, actually. Just threw the $50 at you. Said, "Yeah, we'll go ahead and get it."
Yeah. I was so excited.
Yeah. So, TJ, how far back do you go as far as playing NCAA 14 in there, all the way back 14? In the NCAA games?
Oh, shit. Dude.
Because we had, which ones did we have, Mac? We went back to 2002, right?
2005.
2005. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started playing those games when Joey Harrington was on the cover. I think that was 2002. My friend had it next door, and he's like, "Oh, the Lions drafted Joey Harrington." He thought it was the coolest thing ever. So we started playing that a lot, and then I've gotten it every year. And every year, I used to get it when it came out. So I was one of those. I like Mac though. I don't normally get games as soon as they come out, unless it's NCAA or Madden. I don't care. I can wait. Halo, I used to. I don't now, but I used to be I used to get it when it released. I'd wait till midnight, Yeah. But but no, NCAA. I love that game. It's excellent. I mean, it's a great game. I'm really expecting this game to be everything Madden's not, and Madden is garbage. I actually stopped playing Madden because I was playing with Matt Stafford. He got injured 2 games in a row, even though I put his injury up to 99. This is when they thought he was still China Doll Stafford, And this was maybe 2017-ish. And I was like, F this game, dude. I just spent 45 minutes playing this game, and you're ruining my entire. It's it was a season ender too. It was F this game, dude. I'm done with it.
I had the hardest time controlling the game. The game engine is stupid. I couldn't get it to work properly. I don't know. I've never been a huge garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is they're taking advantage of people with DLC, and they're not. They don't They've even said they hold things back for future years because this way there's always something new. But the reality is it's just repackaged all the time. It's garbage. I can't stand the video game model right now. which is why I'm excited about NCAA because it doesn't have. I mean, I'm sure they will have some DLC, but they put a lot into it because they've been working on it for so long. So it should be a good game.
Well, and I feel like we're one fan base that would legit riot and burn EA to the ground if they released a game that wasn't, up to snuff. Because this is literally a game that people have been like dying for 11 years at this point, 10 years at this point. So, yeah, I mean, if they screwed this game up, there would have been a legit riot, and EA would probably cease to exist.
Yeah, that the subscription model drives me nuts. I get everything now. Every piece of software is subscription. You can't just buy it. You got to spend $10 a month, and then whatever else they want to throw at you every time they put out an update. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure if it's going to last or not. I know it's pretty intense right now. Everybody's doing it, but I have seen some software developers now actually advertising that you don't have to get a subscription. You buy it once. And now that they're actually purposefully advertising that, I think that there might end up being a change in that whole setup.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
but Mac,
I was going to say we need the parents to stop giving these kids money all the damn time because that's the problem. These kids are buying all the DLCs and subscriptions. And
yeah.
What are you going to do though?
I mean, it was Fortnite that kind of started that whole thing too with the microtransactions.
Yeah.
I mean, and now, like, because I work in advertising, and they're talking about how to be able to put advertisements in video games to where kids can play with the advertisements, and it kind of starts to create brand loyalty. It's crazy manipulative.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as the game itself, Mac, what you were saying, I remember that so well that we'd try to play that game. And if I played it by myself, I could make some progress. But when I played against you, it was just, I might as well not even try. You were just everything. You were somehow or another, I'm still trying to figure out the play, and you've got your people set up and you're running these triple option offenses. And I'm like, I just couldn't see enough of the screen at once to figure out what was going on. Not to mention, like Call of Duty, where you had I couldn't even move and I was getting shot.
I was in love with that game.
Call of Duty. So
it's a great game. I love the game, but playing against Mac was he was an eagle eye. You couldn't move. He would get you instantaneously.
Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3, the only good Modern Warfare 3, is the first game that I've ever bought at launch, and I waited until midnight at the Best Buy in Brighton to get it, paid full price. I pre-ordered it and everything. That is the only game that I've ever pre-ordered. That Modern Warfare series, I adore those games. Those games are amazing.
Yep. Yeah. 4th and Inches. I think I remember that one. I don't remember if that one was on a system, though. I remember playing that on the PC. That's an old one.
I don't even know what that is.
Isn't it? Yeah, I think that's an old one. But anyway, yeah, some of those, they were pretty fun.
Yeah. But anyway, football.
So, football.
38 minutes in.
30 minutes in. All right. Let's get to some of this recruiting stuff that we wanted to talk about. Story number 2. Actually, I can get rid of the slideshow for a moment. So TJ, okay, so one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show, because we know that you are adept at this with the recruiting strategy stuff and with recruiting, that you're one of the best guys in this, one of the best analysts out there. So what Mac and I were thinking, that Michigan recruiting has basically been all over the map in the Harbaugh era, and what I looked up was some of the classes. They've had one class in the top 5, 4 in the top 10. Others range from 13 to 37. The starters from the national championship team sprinkled throughout the 2018 to 2022 classes, although there was only one guy from 2018. And none of those were in the top 5, which I found interesting, that the guys who played for the national championship, none of them were part of a top 5 recruiting team. Yeah. So as we have said on this show before, that, we believe in the Herb Brooks model, that they're not looking for the best players. They're looking for the right players. It's the team.
Yeah.
So in general, when it comes to recruiting, what do you think coaches are looking for when it comes to recruiting, just as a general outlook on recruiting?
Michigan specifically, or teams in general?
I wanted to say just teams in general at first, and then let's narrow it down to Michigan.
Well, teams in general, see, the thing is, everyone has a different philosophy. I mean, a lot of, some teams are literally going after the best athletes. They are, I've gotten word from some people that they do look at these rankings by these recruiting sites because they do have scouts for these guys, but they do look at the evaluations by the rankings, and they do offer scholarships based on those, which is kind of crazy. Not all schools do this, but you got to understand, not every school has the budget of a Michigan, or they're not able to go on site and see these guys during games and things like that. So um, some teams are going after the most athletic players. Obviously there are teams that are, you're looking for scheme fit. Um, you know, I'd say no one school probably has the same exact blueprint in terms of recruiting, but essentially what you're looking for, but this isn't the case, is you're looking for not only a culture fit, but a football player. But the reality is some of these kids are so athletic, they're not true football players, they're just athletes. And this is where some schools get in trouble because they're recruiting athletes, but they're not getting football players. And these are the kids who are extremely athletic, but they're raw, they're unpolished. And then you get the unique ones who are athletic, but polished and football players. And those are your first round draft picks, so it's unique. Like you see 5-stars never get drafted because of this. And the issue with the recruiting services is they literally rank based on NFL potential and not college potential, which is one of my biggest issues. And I know the argument, like I know why they do it. I don't agree with it though. I think if you're going to rank kids in high school, you should do it based on college fit. Like how many Heismans have won? How many quarterbacks who were Heismans or even Heisman players who've won, who didn't do anything in the NFL? There's tons of them. It's happened plenty of times, and it's because they don't translate to the NFL. Like what I look for when I do my recruiting breakdowns, I watch the film. I don't look at the ranking, and I also see, do they fit? I'm Michigan focused. Do they fit in our system? What type of player are they? And I think Michigan has a similar approach. Actually, I know they have a similar approach. I mean, don't get me wrong though. Like I'm not on the level of a Michigan evaluator, but I do believe in film matters, and there's a lot of things they're privy to that I'm not, right? So, but where I'm going at with this is every school has their own philosophy, but essentially they're looking for the best football players and the best culture fits within their scheme. But as we can see, you'll have schools like Miami or Texas A&M. They're literally buying kids.
Yeah.
And and there's other schools that do that too. And then you'll see them enter the portal a year later because, quite honestly, and not to like talk down on anybody, like they're not personally developed. They're chasing money and they're not. They don't know. And those kids, unfortunately, will be put in a bad position because they're going to waste their 4 years and not have enough sample for the NFL to draft them. And then they're just going to have what they got in college. And we're going to find, I don't know, 30 for 30 ESPN. I'm sure that's coming down the road.
I think it's interesting because, like, I don't know. To me, when I look at recruiting, because obviously we're not experts on recruiting at all, but like I look at the film of high school recruits, and I mean, people get excited because if you see like a D-line recruit and you're watching their film and the caption is always, look at him pancake this O-lineman and stuff like that. So I can see those things and be like, oh my gosh, that player is going to be great. But Michigan still might not go after that specific player because he doesn't fit into their system. And that's the part that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it's like if you're a defensive end or maybe a wide receiver is a better example, because to me, if you're a wide receiver, like your job is to go down the field and catch the ball. Why would Michigan go after one receiver versus another? What does it mean exactly when one receiver fits in Michigan's program but another one doesn't?
Well, that's a great question. So like all right, so for example, for Michigan, one thing is, some kids do not academically, they cannot meet the Michigan standard for academics, right? So you lose a pool of players just off of that. If they cannot get in academically, they're not even a target. And then secondly, if a player is simply a wide receiver but does not do more than that, like does he run block? Does he give up on plays that aren't for him? Like these type of things I know Michigan's looks at, and when they evaluate, there's a lot of teams that look at that, but some teams will look past that because the talent's so great. And then this is really important, especially in the NIL era. Wide receivers are the exotic car. They're an extremely expensive position. So Michigan in the past, things are evolving at Michigan though, especially this year. In the past, Michigan would not get players who are NIL focused. And don't get me wrong, like if a player comes to Michigan and his first priority is NIL, That's not a fit at Michigan. Even today, even though Michigan has evolved their NIL approach, but there were kids who are so priced out of range, and Michigan has lost out on many kids over. I mean, I'll give you an example, Nicholas Harbor. So everyone's giving Nicholas Harbor a lot of, he's getting a lot of praise right now because he's like the most athletically gifted player in NCAA college football 25. He's got like it's like his he runs a 10-100 meter. He's trying to make the Olympics. He's a freak. He was going to Michigan. Like he was heavily trending to Michigan, but then he got a marketing firm to represent him, and they steered him away from Michigan, and they told him. So then Oregon got involved, and then South Carolina was always involved. But eventually, long story short, he went to South Carolina, and the reality of the situation is, NIL-wise, Michigan was not competitive. So he went where it was competitive because Michigan did not have an NIL package competitive enough for Nicholas Harbor, which would have been huge for Michigan. He is now in South Carolina, and that's one of many examples where Michigan last 2 years so NIL got introduced in 2001. I think it was June or July. Since then, Michigan's been at a disadvantage, but now as of this year, their approach has evolved. And as you can see in the recruiting class and the results, right now I think we're at 11. We're knocking on top 10, and they're doing really well. And the class is up to 16 players. They have the 7th highest average, and that's no coincidence. And if anyone watched our show, and I know a lot of people on here do watch our show, before the results were even there, we were telling everybody Michigan's evolved their approach. There's uniformity within the athletic department, and you will see a more aggressive recruiting strategy. And when literally 1 week before or 1 week after we made that video, the recruiting has just been on a hell of a momentum streak, and Michigan's doing a really good job. We went from like 50, now we're 11. So they've been, Michigan's been on top of it.
We just hit 10.
Are we at 10 now?
Yeah, so we're now at top 10. Yeah,
there we go. So
it's
there we go. Yeah,
it's been fascinating to watch. I'm a trends guy. Okay, so I'm not looking at individual players. I'm looking at big picture, right? So like, because every boss I've ever had will tell you that little details are not my strength. So I like to look at the overall trend and the big picture kind of thing. And watching Michigan go from, I mean, when Michigan was in the 50s and everybody was freaking out, like Michigan recruiting's not taking off. Ohio State fans are yelling and screaming, "Oh, Michigan sucks. This is terrible for a team that just came off a national championship." And yes, it was. But in my head, I was always like, we knew this was probably going to be the case because there was a lot of turnover with coaching and stuff like that. But then also, we know as Michigan fans that Jim Harbaugh's recruiting philosophy was a little bit strange. Archaic. Yeah. I still don't fully understand it, but we know at the very least it was archaic. Sharon Moore is the coach that's going to take Michigan into the 21st century as far as recruiting is concerned. And I think that's what we're seeing, but it was always going to take time. So I keep looking at Michigan's recruiting and saying, like, are we bringing in the offensive line, the defensive line, and then good defensive secondary players, and then good running backs and serviceable quarterbacks? That's what I'm excited about. I almost don't even pay attention to wide receivers because Michigan has never been a pass first or even pass.
You should now.
So that's the interesting thing is because Michigan is now in the mix for a lot of big name wide receivers and has already had a couple commit. And I think that that's fascinating from what we've heard from Kurt Campbell saying that the playbook is going to be opened up.
That's right. Yeah. So I'll tease this now, but be on the lookout for an announcement tomorrow. We have an announcement, a very special. I won't give too much on it, but just stay tuned to Michigan Wolverines Live at 8 p.m. tomorrow. We have an announcement about something that we're going to be doing. The channel. I don't want to say too much because I haven't even confirmed this with John. John's watching right now. He's probably like, shh. But yeah, we got an announcement tomorrow that we're looking forward to bringing to the channel. I think a lot of people will be excited about. But anyways, no, you're right. So I think what we're seeing is not only listen, with Harbaugh, his recruiting staff was under 10 people. He also wasn't the most aggressive recruiter himself. He wasn't as hands-on as a Sharon Moore is now. Sharon Moore has expanded our recruiting department from 10 to over 20. Not only that, and this is also in part to the changing climate. When Michigan started getting a lot of players potentially poached from January, February into March, and we saw some of that happen with Keon Saab, and although he was more playing time focused, but DJ Waller got, a couple players got poached from us. the collectives, the regents, and not only that, the ruling that happened where the NCAA essentially made NIL legal. Since then, Michigan has been on board, and because of that, now you have the support of the collectives. Now you have the recruiting department beefed up. Now you also have aggressive coaches who are recruiters, and you are seeing that with Lou Esposito, and you are seeing that with Lamar Morgan, and all these guys. Even now Ron Bellamy has NIL to play with, and he's getting this. He just got Philip Wright, who's a speed demon. Jacob Washington. We're looking. We're pursuing 2 other highly ranked wide receivers right now, Meadows and the other one from Ole Miss. I can't remember his name right now. And then there's obviously the big one that's on the horizon, Andrew Marsh. So yeah, I mean, Michigan is picked it up. And like you said with the playbook. So I'm sure you're aware, we got Brady Hart, 2026 quarterback.
Yeah.
That's big time. And that's the type of quarterback that, Kirk Campbell talks about expanding the offense. This is how you do it. We now have the running backs, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. Andrew Olish committed to Michigan, big time player. You can split him out wide. Yeah, Michigan is really picking it up. I mean, they're becoming, to me, their approach now should maintain their supremacy, at least as an elite team in the Big Ten and a year in, year out annual college football playoff contender.
Yeah, actually, okay, so that's a good point, and we'll get to O-line stuff in a second. But you bring up Andrew Olesh, and Andrew Olesh is so intriguing to me as a player.
Yeah.
Because just looking at his build, so he's 6'4", 215 pounds. If I knew nothing else about the guy, I would say, well, wait a minute, he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that X wide receiver that you talk about because he's got that size and he can win those 50-50 balls.
Right. I mean, no, he's a Y type tight end where you'll split him in the slot. He's a mismatch nightmare. That's what he's going to be. He's going to make defenses pay. They might put him at X from time to time. I don't expect him to be there all the time, but he's so athletically gifted. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how he develops in college when he gets in the weight room. I mean, I'm pretty sure he obviously has the frame to get to probably 240, no problem, which is probably where he will get. But yeah, no, Andrew Olish is an excellent, and we have another one too. Last year we got Brady Prescorn. He's an athletic freak too, guys. That we have. I'm telling you, man, Michigan is doing so well. The foundation of the team is so good. We're just looking for those extra pieces, that just puts us over the top. And don't get me wrong, like, you have your Alabamas and your Ohio States and your Georgias and Oregons who are top 4 in recruiting right now, and they're getting the freakiest talents. But like, you got to remember this: only 22 players can play, only 11 on each side of the ball. It doesn't matter if you have 25 kids in the class that are like, a lot of these kids are going to transfer out. Some kids get injured. Like, at the end of the day, as long as you can put 22, but in reality about 35 very good players on the field, you can win. Clemson did this. Their run was very similar to recruiting classes to Michigan. Michigan did this. Michigan just has to continue doing what they're doing, and now they're beginning to get a little more aggressive lately with their NIL, and because of that, I mean, I'm expecting. And I am next year, 2026. I am expecting a big class for 2026.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it honestly, with the way things are trending right now with Michigan recruiting, I guess what would be interesting to see then is how quickly does this translate into championships for Michigan, especially with how much harder the Big Ten's getting, and then how the playoff is expanding. Because it's one thing to bring in the top 10 class; it's another thing to then do something with it. Because I honestly, in my opinion, if Harbaugh had brought in top 10 classes or classes like this earlier in his Michigan career, Michigan would have won a natty and beaten Ohio State a lot sooner.
Well, he did. I mean, I think it was his 26 or 2017 class was top 5. He had a top 5 class. He actually had really good classes in the beginning, but the problem was, to be honest, I don't know if you guys remember this, Michigan had a culture problem. Because what he was doing in a lot of teams, you'll find that they have this problem when they get these high-ranked players. You have a lot of me players and not team players, right? These guys care about themselves. And we ran into this problem with, I don't want to say names, but there was a receiving core that was very highly touted. And people can, put these puzzle pieces together. And they were looking out for themselves. They weren't playing team ball. And, they were our higher-ranked wide receivers. So if anyone wants to figure it out, you'll figure it out. But
I think I just got
yeah. So like these guys they were me guys. They were not team guys. And Harbaugh, he changed the culture. The Aiden Hutchinson class was the one that changed it. I believe that was the 2018 recruiting class. That was with Hassan Haskins, Aiden Hutchinson, a bunch of these guys. Kwity Paye, I think, might have been in that one. Long story short, like they went through a total change, and then every class from 2019 all the way to 21, which was JJ McCarthy's class, that's what won you the national title. Like you brought up earlier in the show, that was a culture change, and they went through a culture change, and Aiden Hutchinson led that change, along with some other players, and that's the balance, right? So everyone's going after talent, but are these guys team players? Are they football players, or are they me guys? Are they just athletes? That's what makes college football so hard. Talent doesn't mean you're going to be good, or athletic ability does not mean you're going to be good, and talent doesn't mean shit if you're not going to work hard. So like that's what makes it so unique.
I've often wondered, like, would a team full of selfless 3-stars beat a team full of selfish 5-stars?
Well, you see some of that with Iowa, right? You see that with the Iowas, or you see that like Cincinnati had that run. Like you see this occasionally in college football. That's what makes it fun. Like every now and then you will see, Northwestern. They almost beat Ohio State in that Big Ten championship. I mean, that was a hell of a game.
Yeah,
it was like a couple years ago. Like every now and then you'll see that. That's what makes it fun. It's just, can you be consistently good all year? Iowa seems, if they had an offense, they would be a dangerous team, but they can't.
Yeah, really.
They're too loyal. Kirk Ferentz was too loyal to his son. Like it's just funny. Wisconsin used to be on this road too, but now that what's his name?
Luke Fickell.
Luke Fickell, yeah. Luke Fickell is now the head coach there. He's got a different approach. We'll see if that translates to Big Ten football, because he wants to do almost like an air raid spread offense. But we'll see. That's what makes it fun, man. I love seeing the different dynamics. Like every school and every team has their own like approach, because whether it's resources or even just philosophy, that's what makes it. I love college football, man. That's what makes it so great.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And if I could be so bold, I would say that if Sherrone Moore really does keep up the culture of selfless football at Michigan, and he is capable of bringing in top 10 classes every year, then Michigan will win another national championship within the next 5 years.
Yeah, so I will also co-sign that, and I'll say this too. Like, so I've been doing recruiting breakdowns of every kid we've been getting. I'm gonna tell you right now, these kids are football players. These kids are aggressive, physical, all-in type players. Like that's what's so fun about doing these breakdowns is. And like I tell everybody, like I'll be honest, if I don't like the kid, I'm going to be honest. Like if I not that like I don't like him, but if I'm not as high on him, I'll be honest. But like every kid they brought in is a legitimate football player. Like they're about it. They're athletically good enough, but they're not. It's not just that. It's the physicality they're bringing. It's the toughness they're bringing to the game. If you watch any of my breakdowns, I don't know if you guys have, but anyone in the audience, you will see a common trend. All these kids are violent as hell, man. They're like dirt balls. In the best way possible, So yeah, I mean, Michigan seems to have a type. You got to be about ball and you got to be physical. And if you're not physical and you're not about ball, you're not going to cut it. And Michigan went through if everyone remembers, in March, it was very quiet in recruiting. Michigan went through an evaluation period, and they literally completely changed their board, and they went after new targets. And so yeah, I mean, now we're seeing those results.
So Michigan completely changed the recruits that they wanted to go after, their targeted recruits.
We lost, yes. So like Lamar Morgan Queen Scale had a different board than Lamar Morgan. Lamar Morgan has a different type. Lou Esposito has a different type versus my guy who was at Notre Dame. Now he's with Harbaugh. Why am I forgetting his name?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Why am I forgetting his name? I don't know. Regardless, I'm sure that someone in the chat knows. But he was a former Michigan player. I don't know. But anyways, so the reality is when you have a new coaching staff, the new coach has a different type. They prefer a different type of player. Brian Jean-Marie had a different type than Chris Partridge, stuff like that. So yeah, so the boards were completely different. And there were kids that were close to committing. I'll give you one. Kamari. So we actually just took an L on this. Kamari Archie is a linebacker that just committed to Rutgers. Okay, he's a top 300 linebacker. Mm-hmm. We were high on him, and we were leading in that recruitment. But because Brian Jean-Marie went through an evaluation period, and there was a lack of communication for about 3 to 4 weeks, we lost ground. And Clemson and Rutgers made ground. And now Kamari Archie is now committed to Rutgers. But what's funny is his dad made a public post saying, it's not over until we sign the dotted line on National Signing Day. So I don't know. I'm hoping Michigan can get back in there because he's a really good football player. But yeah, it's stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and it's comments Mike Elston.
That's it, Mike Elston. Yep.
That Mike Elston.
Yep. Forgive me.
It's comments like that though that kind of, I mean, as much as I'm excited about Michigan recruiting right now, and you know, we've all been kind of waiting for this and wishing that Michigan would get some commits and all that. I'm also still of the opinion that I should probably withhold excitement until signing day because of how often players flip.
Yeah, well, in today's era, all it takes is a phone call. That's it.
Oh yeah,
that's all it takes.
I mean,
it takes one phone call
and a check.
That's it. That is
You
it.
know?
That's why, like, I do these locks, and it's a dangerous game because it literally can like I have 3 L's in my locks. I think I'm 12-3 right now, or if I'm not 12-3, I'm 11-3. 2 of those were silence. They were silently committed to Michigan. They were silently committed to Michigan for a long time, but you know, OSU made an NIL move, and they got Maxwell Roy, and then Hardy Watts went to Wisconsin, not over NIL, but over a good recruiting pitch on playing time and path to starting and stuff like that, you know, because Michigan's offensive line room is so deep. So it worked, you know, and that's what makes it tough, you know, in recruiting. That's what makes it dangerous too. So that's another thing is like when we start recruiting these higher level players, the stakes are higher, guys. Like other teams are going to offer more money. Like right now, Derek Meadows is going through a bidding war right now as we speak. I was actually going to save some of this for the show tomorrow, and I will save some of it for our show tomorrow, but I'll just let in a little. Like, so Derek Meadows is a 5-star wide receiver that was leaning heavy Notre Dame. He was going to commit on Friday, but not to Notre Dame, to LSU. And then Michigan made a move. And so now it's a 3-way battle. And he pushed his commitment back a week, and there's a lot going on there. And it's really interesting to see what NIL can do to a recruitment. Another one that is kind of related to Michigan, but a little not. Taz Williams was a wide receiver out of Texas, who was leaning heavy to Michigan for the longest time, but then Michigan got Philip Wright, who's the real Flash. That's my nickname for him. You know, he goes by Flash. I call him the real Flash.
Okay.
But, you know, because he's the human form, bro. But,
right.
Yeah, so Michigan decided to focus on him, and they both play the wide position, the slot. Long story short, he was leaning Penn State. Well, then Baylor made a phone call about a week ago, and now he's at Baylor. So it's that quick. It's that easy, you know?
Do you think it was because Baylor dropped a bag?
Oh, I know. I know they did.
Okay, so then as a Michigan fan, I don't care.
No, of course. Of course. No. Actually, it's good for us that he's not at Penn State, and Penn State's struggling right now. Their NIL game's in trouble. USC is another school that's having a lot of trouble right now with their NIL. It's interesting. They're losing a lot of players. Notre Dame is they're actually fairly competitive with NIL, but they're going through a bit of some turbulence too right now in their class. And so I mean, it's interesting.
Notre Dame is a weird one to me because like everybody likes to say that Michigan's arrogant, and I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine. But Notre Dame, for the longest time, didn't join a conference because they thought they were too good for that. I mean, and now they're in a position they absolutely need. Oh, you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah, you faded a little bit, but you're coming back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But now they're at a point where they legit need to join a conference in order to get the whatever they're doing, the revenue
share.
Yeah. And now it's come out that there's a bunch of rumors that they're going to end up joining the Big Ten because of that. So as revenue sharing stuff happens, I wonder if recruiting, like all of these NIL collectives, are going to be as meaningful with recruiting.
Well, I don't know. I know Notre Dame's trying to like negotiate a new contract where they can stay independent with NBC. Yeah. If Notre Dame does join the Big Ten, I think I haven't looked at this, so forgive me if I'm off by a year or two. But I've researched this recently, or not recently, but a few months ago. I think if the opportunity for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten, it'll be about 2026 when their contract's up. But they're trying to, and if it's not 2026, it's around there. But Notre Dame's trying to remain independent. They want that exclusivity where they can do whatever the hell they want because they're Notre Dame, you know, silly arrogance they have. But I mean, the revenue share is a big deal, but let's be honest, like Notre Dame does get a good contract from NBC. It's not on the level of what Big Ten's getting, but I don't know. I was reading some rumors that the NBC might be willing to make them like a $60 million a year offer or something along those lines. So, which I think is foolish. Yeah, because think about this: if NBC is the one who has their rights and they don't have to share with any other media company. Because get it, if Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, then you got to share it with Fox, you got to share with CBS, and I mean, you don't have Notre Dame exclusivity, right? So,
Yeah.
in a sense, it makes sense for NBC, but I mean, I think we'd all agree we'd like to see them in the Big Ten because I don't think Notre Dame maintain like they're. I don't think they're like they think they're better than they are. I think if they get into a conference where an Iowa gets to know you, or whatever rival, that's what makes the Big Ten hard is because these teams learn your systems. They know how to beat. They know your strengths and your weaknesses. When you're playing new opponents every year, you can kind of get away with that crap. And then whenever they play a tough opponent, they do it on neutral sites and all this crazy crap. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Notre Dame's Notre Dame. That's why we hate them, but we love them.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Notre Dame for some reason. I really don't know why, but
classic rivals from Michigan.
Yeah.
So this might be a little bit off topic, but how close do you think we are? And this is a question for both of you guys to postulate about. How close do you think we are to a draft system for college football? Given, like we were talking about, that you could have some guy recruited, and then on the day he's supposed to sign, he gets a bag and goes somewhere else. In the NFL, that doesn't happen. You get your contract, you're on that team. So how close are we to college football contracts and a college football draft?
Okay, so we are never going to have a college football draft. That will never happen due to academics. Some kids cannot get into these schools, and on top of that, you cannot make a kid go to a region he doesn't want to go to. So that won't happen. But contracts or making them employees or getting to a point of collective bargaining where we have a commission and NCAA, that's down the road. That's coming as we speak. The super conference is also coming as it speaks. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC already have their own little council where they're on their way to going there. I think we'll see it before 2030, probably 2020. I don't know exactly, but I'm expecting not too far down the road. They've already expanded the college football playoff to 14 when it was at 12. Yeah, we're getting into a professional league here, and it is because these players are getting paid. The only thing that's not making it professional is they're not employees yet, but they're going to be. There's going to be some lawsuits, and with this revenue share, is what's going to make it real interesting. So this revenue share that kicks in 2025, you have a Title IX problem, maybe. And the reason why it's maybe is because we don't know.
Yeah, right.
So what is expected, and they're already saying this is going to go to court, and someone's going to do it, whether it's a school or an athlete or somebody is going to take this to court, and that's where it's going to get finalized. The NCAA is not going to figure this out because there's a lot of, when it comes to compensation, that doesn't fall under Title IX. Title IX is simply about the opportunity of equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. So that's the argument there. So yeah, it's interesting. We're in for more mess, but the good news is, I guess, it's getting more organized. At least NIL is legal, but there's still silly rules like you can't decorate a recruit's hotel room on their official visit, which is insane. It's just they got silly rules. Can't buy a kid a cheeseburger, but you can give them all this money, stuff like that.
But okay, so the Super League is coming.
It will. Yeah.
It will be. Yeah, I think so too. The Title IX issue is what's a little bit strange to me because I think it's an issue right now just because if the revenue is being shared with the football team, then it has to be shared with the rest of the sports at the university. Is that right?
It doesn't have to be. No. So how it works is, so that's what makes this even more interesting. So it's up to every school's discretion. Some schools, so here's how they're going to do it. You basically have a pool of, you can share up to 22 million a year in revenue, and now the school gets to select that. Some schools might do 10 million. Some schools might not be able to do 22 million. Michigan is going to do the full capacity. I've gotten that confirmed. They're going to do the full capacity. At least that's the word. That's the expectation, is they're going to do the full capacity. Most of the major brands will, and how they divide it that's the question. That isn't known yet. Are they going to do a 50-50 split between men and women? Are they going to do a larger share for revenue? Because I mean, it's a revenue share. Shouldn't you give more of the money to the revenue sports? I think so, but who knows what they're going to do? Yeah, so it's really interesting how it's going to go. Every school it's up to their discretion. Some schools might focus simply on the revenue sports, and you would think an SEC school would.
I thought it would be literally a Title IX violation if they didn't give an equal share to every team, though.
But here's the thing, right? So, all right. So, for example, collectives do not fall under Title IX.
Right.
So, but the revenue share is actually through the school, not the collective.
Mhm.
So the loophole has always been, so you're wondering like how are they getting away with this now? The loophole is because the collective is a third party and the money goes through the collective. This is why this doesn't fall under Title IX. But there's also the argument with Title IX and revenue share that compensation is not a part of Title IX. Simply, like I said, the equality of opportunity, which means as many male sports as there is female sports, right? So that's where the equality comes in. Now, in terms of revenue, listen, those sports are not generating. This is why it's going to go to court, right? Because those non-revenue sports. This goes for men's sports too. There's non-revenue men's sports. They do not make the money that the revenue sports do. So why should they get revenue share if they're not bringing in revenue? That's the argument that's going to happen. And there's some people who are in the public space of NCAA where they said that compensation does not fall under Title IX. But then there's people saying, well, all athletes should be paid equal amount, so you're going to get this, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting.
Well, and I mean, I think the end result of all of those lawsuits then is the Super League. And I think that's how they avoid it.
Right. Yeah. So at some point there's going to be a commissioner for college football. At some point there's going to be more regulations in place. And I do think you will see a super conference. And I think that super conference, and I don't know. I'm assuming here, but I'm thinking about 40 teams. And it's going to be, and I'm going to tell you right now, it will be sweet, but it won't be the same college football we know it. Like, it obviously will be great matchups. And I'm going to tell you, every kid's going to want to be in this league. They're not going to want to go to those other, so you're either a Big 12 or your Big 12 team or your ACC team. They're going to get, this is why you see what Florida State and Clemson's doing right now. They see the writing on the wall. They know where this is heading. They're trying to get out of the ACC now.
Yeah, because the ACC, as soon as that takes off, it's gone.
Yeah, the Big 12 is the third strongest position right now.
Which is kind of wild to me, considering they just lost two of the biggest brands in college football history to the SEC.
Because they took on that expansion. They were able to get Utah, they were able to get BYU, and these aren't major brands, but what it did is it extended their footprint, and what made it was really critical. They got their media deal done before the Pac-12. The Pac-12 held out on their media deal, thinking they'd get a higher number, and they waited so long they got nothing. The Big 12 got their media deal.
And
that's what killed the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Huh. Okay. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So the Big 12 got the media deal in a year prior to the Pac-12, and then the Pac-12 was left with non-linear TV cable, which basically means it'll be on a streaming platform. You won't be able to watch it. Yeah, it was bad, man. And they totally botched it.
That's wild. I mean, of all the conferences to go under, I did not think that the Pac-12 would be that conference, considering they've got all of LA, they've got Seattle, they've got basically all of Oregon.
Arizona's a major market. Arizona's the fifth largest sports market in America.
Yeah.
The Phoenix area.
That's wild to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I think Bull here brings up the wrench in the works. The LSU gymnast was that Olivia Dunn, who just signed. I think she's in her 5th year at LSU, and she just signed the biggest NIL deal ever.
She deserves it, though.
Yeah.
That gymnast?
Yeah, the gymnast. Yeah. She signed. It's some $5 million plus, something like that.
Guys, there's another girl. I can't remember her name. She plays softball. She's like Olivia Dunn. She's gorgeous. Stunner. I can't remember the school though.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What is it? What's the number on it?
I don't know. I just understand why she got it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's definitely a valuable asset.
Yeah. She actually, what did she do in 2020 when they weren't allowed to compete? She actually started an Instagram channel and was doing, I guess she said, flips on the beach. And so she's attractive. So she got a huge following on Instagram. And then that has translated into NIL money for as a gymnast, which, I mean, good on her. I mean, she's able to, what do you call that? Transfer that revenue over, which is, it's good for her. But it does kind of throw a wrench in the works because we don't normally think of the gymnasts as a revenue sport, because you can go to a gym meet for what, like $10?
Can you really?
Oh, I don't know.
Something like that, $10-16. I remember when Mac's sister was in gymnastics, we went to a gymnastics meet at Michigan. I think it was Michigan versus Nebraska. And I think the tickets were $8 a piece.
Okay,
So,
it was 3.5 million.
Okay.
That's wow. Okay.
Yeah.
3.9 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, she's doing all right.
Crushing. Yeah, she does like Sports Illustrated and stuff. She does she's doing it.
All
okay,
right.
so
You'll be all right.
she has the third highest NIL. We can get off of this in just a second. I was just fascinated. She has the third highest NIL deal according to the NIL 100 list. She trails Bronny James at 7.2 million, which is ridiculous. Arch Manning at 3.8 million, even though he hasn't done anything. I mean, wow. Anyway, all right, moving on.
All right. Well, let's go to our last story here. I wanted to put some of this recruiting knowledge to the test, or not to the test.
You're good, man.
Practical usage. And we're going to look at the projected starting lineup that this is in the Lindy's Sports Magazine. They have a projected starting lineup for Michigan.
Yeah.
And I was just curious. I want to get both of you guys' thoughts on who they're picking as the starters.
Yeah, I know they have I think it's Lindy's. I don't know if it's Lindy's or Phil Steele. One of them makes a really weird projection for the starting. I think John was telling me about it. We'll see what you got here. But I know one of them's wrong.
I'm gonna switch right over to the individual players. So they have Alex Orji for quarterback.
Yeah, that's how I got it.
That's how you got it.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, it's a QB camp. It's a QB. I mean, it's a QB battle, right? So it's possible. It's possible Orji doesn't win. I do think he will, though. That's my assumption. I am assuming. I don't have any inside info. Obviously, there's going to be a camp battle, and we'll see where it goes.
Tuttle, I feel like, is the other one that could really, just from a scheme standpoint, I feel like Tuttle's the only one that actually gives him a run for his money. I was really high on Davis Warren after the spring game because he has an arm and he's like moderately mobile, but I feel like Tuttle is almost as mobile as what Alex Orji is, or at least could be. Because I think Tuttle can run, can he?
Yeah, I mean, he has some, he has some ability to be mobile. But he's not like a dual threat or anything, but he has the ability to escape a pocket. I mean, he hurt his shoulder last year by doing that, remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, Rutgers took a cheap shot after he was done running. So that's,
I was gonna say that's when he ran off into the sidelines, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's buzz. They might do a 2-quarterback system. I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't believe in that. That's a me thing. That's my preference. Yeah. I don't like that. I think you need a guy. I think when you're in the huddle, you need someone to command the huddle. I think when you have two different quarterbacks, it throws timing off. Also, I think it also limits your playbook. You know what this guy's going to do versus this guy, and it gives too many tells. It's not. We'll see what they do. I'm hoping we get one guy that can handle it.
Well, we saw that with Forcier and Robinson, Forcier and Denard.
Yeah.
And then again with Gardner and Denard. It just
when does it ever really work?
It messed up the timing. Yeah.
But look at college as a whole. Name a dual quarterback system where it was just awesome.
Yeah,
You don't see it.
Yeah. I just want to say to everybody in the chat, as we're going through these starting positions, let us know in the chat what you think. Next up, we have Donovan Edwards. And we got some career stats there. So Donovan's been playing since 21. He's got some good stats, but does he work out as, what is he going to be, RB1?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's RB1. It's his year. He took a back seat to Blake Corum last year, and I do think they're going to give him full opportunity to showcase himself this year. He's on the cover of College Football 25. I think he's going to be I'm looking at like 1,200 yards, close to 15 touchdowns. That type of year for Donovan Edwards is what I'm expecting.
Oh, John here says Chris Bayless is saying we might be headed for 2 QBs.
Yeah, he's one of them. There's a few people who believe in that. He's one of them. Chris Bayless appears to be hearing that kind of buzz out of Ann Arbor. I don't know. I'm hoping that's not the case though.
If that's the case, then I'm more concerned that Alex Orji isn't living up to the hype than I am that another quarterback is doing just as well as he is.
Well, when it comes to Orji, it's about, can he be consistently accurate? I don't know. I mean, he looked encouraging in the spring game. We'll see, man. I don't know. I can't. This is like whenever I have these like debates or conversations with anybody. Like we just did last week. We did a Texas Michigan preview show for week 2, and I told him it's our biggest unknown. Like it's hard for me to project what we're gonna do because I don't even know if he's gonna be. I think he is, but I don't know.
Yeah. Donovan Edwards. I saw an article saying that there are like 3 Michigan players that could win the Heisman this year, or are like Michigan's best chance at winning the Heisman this year. And Donovan Edwards was number 1. Will Johnson was up there, and then Alex Orji actually was the other one too.
Yeah, the only way Will Johnson's gonna win it is if he's playing both ways.
I was going to say, but they were also thinking about playing him both ways at one point.
Yeah,
too.
There's some talk. We'll see. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if they will, but there's been some talk.
Okay.
All right, moving on to wide receiver. We've got 3. The first one is Tyler Morris.
Yep.
And I give you a heads up that we've got Tyler Morris, Samaj Morgan, and Frederick Moore.
Yeah, John would like to hear that. John, Fred Moore champion. So he's going to be in the battle. It's going to be Fred Moore. So this is where the question is. Is it going to be Fred Moore? Is it going to be Amarion Walker? This is another camp battle. We'll see. I mean, John's team Fred Moore, and I'm in observation mode. I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm hoping for the best. So whoever wins, best man wins.
Mac, what do you think?
Fred Moore is an interesting one. He's not that X receiver, so I feel like 2024 is not going to be the year that Michigan gets like an actual X receiver.
Well, that's what Amarion Walker is supposed to be, and Fred Moore would play that role, but I hear you. He doesn't quite have the size of your typical X receiver archetype.
That's what I was thinking, because he's 6'1", which that's taller. But he's only 180 pounds. And then also watching the spring game, I mean, he was super fast.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Go on.
No, you're good. The Amarion Walker, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see Amarion Walker being that X receiver. I'm trying to remember back to last year's spring game. He was on defense and he didn't have a very good game, which obviously, defense is different than playing wide receiver. But I am curious because he's not naturally a wide receiver, I don't believe.
He is. So he is naturally a wide receiver. He's just so athletically gifted. They transitioned him to cornerback because so Amarion Walker's biggest issue is consistency with his hands. Catching the ball consistently, and if you're a wide receiver, you need that. So, so they tried to do what they did with Mike Sanders, still, right? Transition him to cornerback because he's so athletically gifted. That was Harbaugh's project. We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. He's one of those players where he steps on the field, he's like probably the best athlete on the field. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, listen, if he can consistently catch the ball, I'm hoping he's hitting the jug machines every day, like I'm on Ross St. Brown, right? Yeah. If he's doing that, then hopefully he can become the guy we're looking for at X. That's why it's going to be an Amarion Walker and Fred Moore battle. It's going to be interesting.
Okay, so that will be interesting. But I guess what I was thinking with that is I didn't realize that he was naturally a wide receiver. But what I was thinking with that was his hands. Like his hands seemed to be an issue, and so if he's going to be that X receiver, I don't know. I mean, to me, Freddie Moore is not the answer at X, but Freddie Moore is still a really good deep threat given his speed. Amarion Walker, I just don't know, because if you can't catch, then you're not going to play anywhere as far as a wide receiver is concerned. Right. So that'll be interesting to watch.
Yep, that's where we are, and so essentially Samaj Morgan in the slot, Tyler Morris at the Z position. Those are pretty much going to be where they are, and then the X position is going to be the battle.
Tyler Morris, I'm excited about because I think he's got size, but I know for a fact he's 5'11", 185. Okay, so he doesn't exactly have the size, but he's definitely got the speed, the type of speed that outruns an SEC defense for his first career touchdown, which is amazing.
And Samaj Morgan's even faster. So like you have these weapons, right? And then also let's not forget, and I'm sure we're going to get to it, Colson Loveland's going to be the starting tight end, right? So when you get to these Not to jump ahead, Cliff, but when you have these weapons on the field, right, with Donovan Edwards in the backfield, and don't forget, Donovan Edwards can catch the ball. They could put, I don't know if they're going to do it. I wish they would do it. They could put him in the slot. You could put Khalil Mullins in the backfield. Michigan has weapons, like where there's not a shortage of weapons. It's just we're not a complete off. Like we have a question at X, we have a question at quarterback, which is the biggest question. So, it's interesting.
Well, lean into that then. Like if Michigan doesn't have an X receiver, then whatever, that's fine. It's like you said, they have options. They have options elsewhere that they can reshuffle things and get a little creative with the play calling. Like Colson Lovin is super tall and super big. Maybe he doesn't have the speed. That's fine. Run him on an out. I think it's called an out route. Run him on a slant or something like that, and let him try and catch some of those shorter 50-50 balls. That's fine. You can do that. Donovan Edwards has really good hands. Let him catch out the backfield and get everybody else blocking for him. I mean, there are creative ways to be able to throw the ball and throw it effectively and frequently. With that, you don't necessarily need the X receiver. Now, we would like to have the X receiver because we want an extra taller guy that can win those 50-50 battles that you always see in the SEC. But Michigan's still got enough. They've still got plenty of weapons, like you're saying.
Yep, exactly. I mean, Michigan has what it needs to be successful. Now, whether the X receiver is a high producer or not, it's to be seen. But I mean, I think there's enough dynamic weapons, literally X factor type weapons between Colson Loveland, Donovan Edwards, and Samaj Morgan. I think Samaj Morgan's a breakout candidate. Another player to be aware of who's not a starter, Marlon Klein, who's going to be the tight end too. He's a freak, guys. Like he's going to play that AJ Barner role, and I actually think he's going to be able to produce at a higher level.
Marlon Klein is 6'6", 250.
Yeah, and he runs a 4.5.
Holy crap!
He's from Germany. He transferred, went to Georgia to play high school. He's a name to know. He's a name to know. He's going to be the max tight end of Michigan.
Man, all right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm high on Marlon Klein. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
As you said, they've got Colston Loveland as TE1.
Yep. Colson Loveland's tight end 1. Best tight end in the nation. This isn't a debate. He's also the highest ranked tight end in NCAA college football, I believe. So,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. So we have 3 players who are the highest ranked at their position. Mason Graham's the highest ranked, Will Johnson, and Colson Loveland.
Wow.
The other tight end. Whoop. Oh, I'm sorry. That was it. Okay. Yep. I'm sorry. So this is the O-line protecting the quarterback there. Your left tackle is Miles Hinton. Your left guard is Josh Priebe. Your center is Greg Crippen. Your right guard is Giovanni El-Hadi. And right tackle is Andrew Gentry.
I have that swapped. I have Josh Priebe as right guard, Giovanni El-Hadi as left guard.
Okay. Any particular reason?
My depth chart. Yeah, because Josh Priebe played right guard at Northwestern.
Okay.
That's why.
Why do they have him at left guard at Michigan?
Do they have him as left guard at Michigan?
Well, Lindy's does.
Yeah, I think this is where Lindy's is wrong. So there's a few things. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, listen, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Pretty sure he played right guard at Northwestern, which is why I have him there. Giovanni El-Hadi's going to play left guard. But yeah, this is essentially going to be the starting offensive line. So when it comes to this unit here, the biggest question mark for me is Andrew Gentry, only because, the word out of spring camp was he had a lot of up and down. Yeah, he had some days he looked great. He had other days where it wasn't as great. That would be the biggest question mark for me. Listen, Josh Priebe played at all Big Ten level. He's a former starter. Miles Hinton was a starter at Stanford. He got some good reps last year. Greg Crippen has been waiting for his time, but behind Oluwatimi, as well as Drake Nugent. He's ready. Not only that, they say he looks great in camp. And then Giovanni El-Hadi, we all know he's been the 6th lineman in those jumbo packages. And not only that, we've seen him play. Like, he's had a lot of time on task already. He should be ready. I mean, Michigan, as you guys know, these guys sit 3 years. They've been in the weight room. They know the playbook. They've also gotten reps in those blowouts when they pull the starters off. Like, I think you'll see a pretty smooth transition here. I do think we'll be a very good offensive line this year. Is it Joe Moore award-winning quality? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe not, but it will still be a high-level offensive line. I fully expect that. Plus, let's not forget, Sherrone Moore's still here. He's still here.
So to me, I mean, I'm looking at this list and I'm thinking like they said that the offensive line was actually going to be a question mark at one point for Michigan. I don't think it is because most of these guys, except for Josh Preeb, played for Michigan last year and got plenty of playing time during like actual games, like and not during garbage time and stuff like that either. Like this almost looks like Michigan's starting lineup from last year.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they all got reps. They all got reps, or they all had, there was a time when Miles Hinton started, right? So I mean,
yeah,
Michigan, like that's the thing about Michigan. Our offensive line room is so deep. Like these guys are, and not only that, like if you guys know, we take a transfer every year. Josh Preview is an all Big Ten level offensive lineman. They say he's the best offensive lineman of the bunch, by the way. So
okay,
yeah, I fully expect us to be a solid unit. I do. I don't think it's going to be, Andrew Gentry is the biggest question mark for me. We'll find out. He's a former top 100 recruit too, but he went on a 2-year Mormon mission.
Hey, Andrew Gentry, was he recruited as a tight end?
No.
Why did I think he was recruited? That was a really random thing that popped in my head. But for some reason, I thought Gentry was recruited as a tight end.
Wasn't there a Zach Gentry?
Zach Gentry. He was recruited as a quarterback, but then they moved him to tight end.
Yeah, from New Mexico, and then he got drafted in the NFL. He was actually pretty solid for Michigan. Yeah, he was Harbaugh's first quarterback in the 2015 class, I believe.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that because I was writing for the Elite Football Network back then.
Stole him from Texas. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess so. I need to get a little bit more familiar with the names on the offensive line here, but this is intriguing to me because I'm looking at all these names. Like I see no weaknesses on this offensive line from an experience standpoint.
Right. These guys have been in battle. They're not new. They're not green. Andrew Gentry's probably the most green, but even he got some reps last year. So
yeah.
In garbage time, right? But the garbage time still counts, So plus they have all fall, and that's the thing too, is like all these guys are going to get better in the next month and a half. Like fall camp, you will improve,
Right.
So, and then what's interesting is we got Fresno State week 1. Fresno State's head coach just stepped down today due to health reasons, so they're going to have a new head coach.
Oh,
it'll be interesting to see that. That dynamic week 1. So it'll,
Jerry Kill, right?
No. I forgot his name. Let's see if I got it right here. I can pull it up quickly.
Jerry Kill was at San Diego State, wasn't he?
No.
Jeff Tedford.
Just Tedford. Okay. Or Jeff Tedford.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember where Jerry Kill was at, but he stepped down for health reasons too. And he's, I believe, an analyst at Vanderbilt now or something like that. That's why I thought that was him.
Well, Jerry Kill partly said that he didn't want to have to deal with NIL too.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Who's next?
Okay. Well, that's the O line. We've got a couple minutes. I didn't set up slides for the D line, but I do have one slide.
What are you slacking, Cliff? What are you doing?
I was slacking. Sorry.
We don't believe in defense here at Team Rivalry.
What is it? What do we look like? Iowa? All right. So here's your D line. You've got defensive end. You've got Derek Moore.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does that shake out? All right.
Yeah, he started last year, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. DT, you've got Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant.
Absolutely. All Big Ten level performers, definitely. First, second round draft picks.
Kenneth,
I'm trying to remember.
I'm so excited about.
Was it Graham or Grant that chased down the
Grant
running?
And we have a chase down tracker. We're chasing down Ohio State right now on our channel, trying to catch them.
I love that. That's amazing. That play is so fun because I mean they originally posted that like it's a highlight for Penn State, but now Michigan fans are all posting it because it's a highlight for Michigan because Kenneth Grant outruns their running back and tackles him from behind. And I just think it's really funny that even Penn State, like their one really good play, well, they had a couple of really good plays, but one of their few really good plays during that game is now being used against them as a highlight for Michigan, which is hilarious.
Right.
Speaking of which, there is a promo on ESPN that I saw the other day that shows plays from the Rose Bowl. And the way they show the plays, they make it look like Alabama won that game because they only show the plays where Alabama advanced.
Really?
Rather than getting sacked 6 times.
Right. And, obviously what ESPN owns, or no, Disney owns ESPN
SEC.
and the SEC.
Yeah, SEC. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
so
what the media contract.
Yep. So they reframed that game a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I forgot. Can I go back to the O-line real quick?
Sure.
I forgot. This is what I wanted to say. Our starting O-line averages over 300 pounds.
Nice.
And, well, this is intriguing to me because obviously you want a big O-line, but in today's game, it's very fast, quick pace. Speed is taking over the game quite a bit. So do you want a really big O-line? Do you want a 300 plus O-line, or do you want somewhere in the high 200s but faster?
Oh, well, that's determined on conference. So if you're in the Pac-12, you're in that high 200. But if you're in the Big Ten, you want that three, and the SEC. So if you look at the SEC offensive lines, your Georgias, your Alabamas, majority of the SEC programs are in the 315 average. Michigan's the same way. Ohio State, I'm a big believer in power run games, and as well as a balanced offensive approach. You don't got to be strictly one dimensional, but
Sure,
no, you listen. That upper 200 offensive lineman shit that gets exposed all the time. You just saw Washington get eat alive against Michigan's defensive line. It's going to be interesting as hell to watch these Pac-12 teams get into the Big Ten now. Your UCLA's, your Oregon. What is Oregon going to do? Because their offensive line's on the smaller side. That's USC. I don't necessarily know what their offensive line looks like, but I can't imagine Washington's offensive line's too big right now. That's the thing is they're Pac-12 types. Big 12 has a lot of this too. You see some of it in the ACC, but really the Big 10 and the SEC have these monster offensive linemen. That's the way to go. That you win in the trenches, man. You got to overpower your opponent.
Well, what's interesting is that, I mean, you want, I think you want D linemen who aren't necessarily over 300 pounds. You probably want high 200s, mid 200s, but really fast guys. Like if I remember correctly, Aiden Hutchinson was in the high 200s, but
Yeah,
he's
like
got a
260.
260. Okay, so but he's got a freaking motor. Like I mean,
Yeah.
the guy has power. So you've got a D lineman. I guess these Pac-12 teams, then they've got O linemen that are in the high 200s, maybe quicker guys. But we've also got D linemen who were in the high 200s, quicker guys. But for some reason, the defensive line always won that battle. So it's like if you've got two guys and they're the same size, one of them's on defense, one of them's on offense, the guy playing defense is going to win that battle most of the time.
Well, it depends. I mean, Josiah Stewart's 245. Derek Moore's probably touching 250 now. Kenneth Grant's 330. Mason Graham's 305. And then Rayshon Benny's 315. He's the backup defensive tackle. So you want certain guys for specific things. I don't know if you guys remember Carlos Kemp.
Yeah.
Dude, he was 290. He was getting his ass kicked. He was an all effort guy, but it wasn't enough. And then Ben Mason tried doing the defensive tackle thing. That didn't work out because you gotta have size. But can you the real gem is the guys who are athletically gifted to hold the size, like an Aiden Hutchinson or a Miles Garrett type. These guys are 265, but they play they're 240. Hutchinson was exactly. So so but your sand position is typically your 240-pound guy, and then when you have a rush end, that's typically in the upper 250s to 260s. So and defensive, so Aaron Donald was 285, but the NFL, this is why he dropped to pick, what was it, 14. They thought he was undersized at 285. So, and most defensive linemen are undersized at 285. So it's really the smaller defensive linemen, you don't really see that unless it's the Pac-12. Michigan tried to do that with Don Brown. We saw what happened. Don Brown's defense started getting its ass kicked in the trenches, I don't know what Don Brown. Don Brown. I can go off on Don Brown. I mean, he was so good in the beginning because he had Michigan. He didn't want to evolve his playbook. Yeah. He started going small on defensive line. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
He was on fire when he started, and then it just
because he had the right size players, and then he started getting cute. He thought, I want faster players. Come on.
Yep.
Don't do that.
Okay, interesting.
Just real quick. So Keegan says that Drake Hill was at Minnesota. Yes, he was at Minnesota. He got edged out by PJ Fleck, and then he sort of disappeared he became an assistant coach at a couple of different places. It was New Mexico State. that he was just at recently, and he just left Mexico State for health reasons and also not wanting to deal with NIL. Now he's a consultant at Vanderbilt.
A lot of coaches with health issues these days. Huh? The NIL is really taking a toll on these guys.
Yeah,
really.
But now, okay, going down the rest of that list there, Josiah Stewart.
Yep, he'll be that starter.
All right.
Yeah.
Ernest Hausman and
absolutely.
Just
and Jay-Sean Barnum.
Jay-Sean Barnum.
Jay-Sean Barnum. Dude, he it's probably like Barham, to be honest with you. I say Barnum. I put an N in there. But yeah, so he was Pro Football Focus's #1 linebacker last year. He played for Maryland, transferred from Maryland. Ernest Hausman was the transfer from Nebraska a year ago. He was considered one of the best freshmen defensive players in all the country too. So, I mean, listen, I actually think, and I say this on our channel a lot, I think we're going to see an upgrade at linebacker this year. Even though we lost Junior Colson and Michael Barrett, I actually think these two guys are more athletically gifted, and I feel like they are going to have a field day. I think Ernest Hausman's going to be sent on the blitz a lot with Wink Martindale. I think we are going to look at an upgrade at the linebacker position, which is saying a lot because it was a national championship caliber defense, right? So, like, how much upgrade can you have? I think that position will be upgraded.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think linebacker was really the one spot on Michigan's defense that I felt like they needed to bring in some depth, maybe safety as well with losing Keon Sabb to Alabama. I got to remember where we are as far as strong safety. We still have Makari Page, and then Jaden Mangum is back there too. Yep. So I'm not entirely familiar with Jaden Mangum. Makari Page, I believe, is pretty solid, but the linebacking core, I mean, I think Michigan's defense as a whole right now could potentially be better than last year's because of the linebacking core and defensive line.
Well, and our best players are a year older. Will Johnson's a year older. Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Derek Moore, Josiah. Like, we are returning so much of our. Like, it just sucks. Like, I would say this: if Rod Moore did not tear his ACL, I would say our defense would be better this year, which is crazy because that defense was historic last year.
Oh, right.
I also think with Wink Martindale coming in, because he has Lamar Morgan, who's familiar with Jesse Minter's system and his coverage disguises, because one of the strengths of Jesse Minter was his ability to do his coverage disguises and completely confuse the offenses. Well, one of the strengths of Wink Martindale is his blitz disguises and his stunts that he does. So you're going to see the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I think that you're going to see a defense that is more balanced, not only for the front seven, but the back seven. I think it's going to be very unique. I actually think we could and I also think Amir Hall, let's see, who do they have? They got Jair Hill. So the second, I did jump ahead. So Zeke Berry, he's going to be the starting nickelback. Will Johnson, we all know. And then the second corner is Jair Hill, they have listed here. That's actually going to be a battle between Amir Hall and Jair Hill. I think, I could be wrong, Amir Hall is going to win that battle. I do think he will. But obviously we'll find out in fall camp. Like, I don't know. Jair Hill could very well become the guy. And either or, I think it's going to be an upgrade over Josh Wallace, which is crazy because Josh Wallace actually played pretty good. I'd say above average cornerback play. So, again, like, I feel extremely good about our defense. And then I think we would all agree Makari Page, listen, he was a good player last year for us. And then the other position is they have Quentin Johnson starting right now. We brought in a transfer from Tennessee, Wesley Walker. I think Wesley Walker might be the starter come week 1.
So
that's why I have on my depth chart right now.
That's the position that they've got Jaden Mangum starting at. Oh, Jaden Mangum is the transfer from Michigan State. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The best player they had.
The best player they had.
One of the best players on their defense, correct.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to be on our bench, by the way. Our bench.
Yep.
That's interesting. So do you think he's going to be on the bench?
Yeah, I think he plays behind Makari Page, by the way. That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, listen, I also think there's going to be a competition at the opposite safety spot. I think Jaden Mangum may get an opportunity there, but I really think it's going to be between Quentin Johnson and Wesley Walker. And I do think Wesley Walker is going to be the starter there. Because the reason why I think that is because they really targeted him from Tennessee.
Yeah.
So he seems to be like somebody they really, I don't know, they seemed high on to fill that role. It just sucks, Rob. And then listen, there's some news that Rod Moore is doing really well in his recovery, and we'll see if he can return around November. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping he does. We'll see. If Rod Moore can come back by November, that'd be just in time for some serious games.
I mean, he He'd better be in tip-top shape, though. Otherwise, I mean, he's coming into the part of the season where they've got to play some of the tougher teams, and Ohio State for sure. Like, and
Absolutely.
then the following week in the Big Ten championship is not going to be a blowout game either. So I mean, he's got to be ready for that. I don't know if I would hold out hope for that necessarily.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where if it happens, great, but if not,
yeah.
The question then becomes: is he going to come back for another year? Is he going to go to the draft? I don't know.
Well, he could get a medical red shirt or
right. But will he want to do that? Will he want to do another year? Well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, in December we'll have those discussions.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Now, Keegan here thinks that J.R. Hill may not be ready. Is there a reason to think that he might not be ready?
I mean, it's another year. Last year he was a true freshman, so I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, like I said, I think it's gonna be Amir Hall. Amir Hall was, I don't know if you guys know, was an all. So we got him from FCS level. I don't remember the school off the top of my head, but he was All-American at the FCS level. He's a very good player. I'm high on him. I think his dad or his uncle follows me. He hits me up every now and then, so he's cool.
Right.
That's actually how I found out he was going to be coming to Michigan. He hit me up, but so I got in on that one. But so I'm not just a fan of him because of that. I'm actually a fan. Like, I think this kid's tape's great. I think he's a good player, and we'll see. But I'll say this: it's probably likely going to be Jair Hill or Amir Hall. And if Jair Hill can prove it this fall camp, and that's the thing, like, we're gonna, when fall camp starts, I think it's about a week into August. We're going to be following who's going to be quarterback one, who's going to be the X wide receiver, who's going to be cornerback two, who's going to be the safety opposite of Makari Page. Because to be honest, all the other positions look to be solidified, but we have these questions still. And right tackle, does Andrew Gentry hold the right tackle position down? Is he more consistent? It's going to be so interesting to watch.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that the battle between. So Jaden Mangum was brought in to potentially take the same position that Quentin Johnson is is trying to get. So Quentin Johnson, FS, I believe is it's something safety. What is FS?
Free safety.
That's it. I kept wanting to say like far side safety because when I played football, we had a strong safety and a far side safety. So to me, Jaden Mangum's not transferring from Michigan State to sit on the bench.
Well, here's the thing. He's got like 3 years of eligibility.
Okay, yeah.
So because he has a bunch of eligibility, not only that, he's in a unique academic program where he was able to transfer credits to Michigan. He's able to get this. He's able to get a Michigan State degree at Michigan. And then once he does that, he'll be able to do a graduate program in Michigan. So even though he's going to school at Michigan, he's going to get a Michigan State degree because they're in it's one of the only programs where it's like an identical program. So that's how they made that work.
How does he sleep at night?
That feels yeah.
Well, because if he did it the other way, he would lose credits because of Michigan's transfer policy.
Oh, yeah, right.
They got that 60 credit rule.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Let's. I want to hit special teams here before we close out. So we remember, and I don't know if this was a fair assessment or what, but remember at the spring game we had the wide kick from the kicker. Some people said there was wind, it was all kinds of different things going on. We shouldn't get too hard on him. But then they bring in Dominic Zavada, who I believe was brought in through the transfer portal this year, right?
Yes. And he's serious. This dude is an NFL quality kicker. This is a major get, man. They got him. So I think he's from Arkansas State, if I remember correctly. We got a serious kicker. Like, this kid's legit. I watched some film on him just doing like practice kicks, like in off-season training, he's hitting like freaking bombs. I mean, he's legit. And just so you know, I know it's off-season, but if you look at his stats through his career, he's an extremely accurate kicker. We got a high-level kicker here. And Tommy Doman, when he was coming out of high school, he was one of the best kickers in the nation. So we should be good here. We should be good. I mean, hopefully we don't have any question, any concerns with our special teams. I think we're going to be in a good spot with the special teams, which will be huge, because if Alex Orji is the quarterback, like, is he able to get us in the red zone? If is he able to capitalize in the red zone? If not, can we depend on our kicker to get us at least 3 points? Because we could be in one of these tight games, and with our defense, you can win games that way. So we'll see. I think the roster, like, honestly, I think, like, looking at this roster, we just went through it. I mean, personally, for me, I think we are a Big Ten title contender. Barring quarterback, the quarterback question makes it so hard to be so sure, but we should be a college football playoff contender as well as a Big Ten champion contender. I really believe that. Our roster's strong, man. We just have a couple questions. And if Alex Orji can be an above average quarterback, we are going to be dangerous.
To me, the way that the offense looks right now, if they're moving the ball at all, if they get into the red zone, then they're most likely scoring a touchdown. And I'm not saying that because I think that they're just this incredible offense. I'm saying that because I think Michigan is built better for red zone offense than they are honestly for long field offense. Of course, and we might have to shift that perception because now we're coming into the Sharon Moore era. And like we mentioned earlier, the playbook's opening up, passing is going to be more of a thing. So maybe that has something to do with it. But when you get into the red zone, you get that short field. That's where you really want your strong running game to take control. And I mean, they've got Donovan Edwards. They've got Khalil Mullings. I mean, they're hefty backs. So I feel like once Michigan's in the red zone, they're going to be scoring touchdowns. My concern is actually, can Dominic Zvada hit the long field goals if yes. Michigan stalls out around the 40 or 35 or something like that? And he absolutely can. Yeah, I mean, he hit a couple of 50-yarders at Arkansas State, I believe, in his freshman year, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. He has so as long as 56 his freshman year.
Yeah.
He is 2 for 3 on 50-plus yard field goals. He's pretty damn good, man. I mean, he's he's 13 for, I don't know. He's only missed two kicks between 40 and 49. He's 13 for 14 or 12 for 13. No, 12. My bad. He's 12 for 14. I'm doing math on the fucking fly right now. But yeah, no, he looks. No, I mean,
always a bad idea.
We're good. Yeah, we're good though. No, but like we're good, man. Like I think we got a great safety net in terms of a kicker. I think and like to your point on the red zone. I mean, listen, if Alex Orji is QB1, he has dual threat ability. So even if it is a passing play, right? Well, guess what? Alex Orji can escape.
Yeah.
Or if a defensive lineman over pursues, Alex Orji can escape. Like it's gonna be so exciting. Like I'm so excited for the season, man. Like I think it's just gonna be. It could be frustrating. Like like the quarterback situation could make a season so frustrating. But I'm hoping that they can. I'm hoping Orji can be the guy, and if he's not the guy, I'm hoping whoever is the guy can at least give us competent quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can probably end with this, but I'm thinking that. Even if Alex Orji can't hit that 62% mark that we've talked about before, I think Michigan's offense could honestly still be okay with the multiple running weapons that they have, including Alex.
Right. It would just limit the team's potential.
Sure.
If he cannot be a consistently accurate quarterback, then what is the ceiling? In my opinion, if he's not a consistent, and I mean, when I mean consistently accurate, I mean just even like fairly accurate. 62% is what we would call fairly accurate. That's not even like a high level. Anything above 65 is considered good. Anything above 70 is considered extremely good. So that's like a JJ McCarthy type thing. So
right.
The lower his completion percentage is, in my opinion, the lower our ceiling is.
Yeah, and that's probably true.
Now, do you have any idea who might be their punt returner?
No, I don't. I'm hoping it's Cole Cabana though.
Oh yeah,
I heard he was getting whips at that.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to put there. I mean, Samaj Morgan would be the natural, but I don't know if they're going to put him there because he's kind of maybe graduated. Sometimes you don't do that. But I'm hoping it's Cole Cabana because he's a freak. If it's not Cole Cabana, I'd love to see Micah Capana back. He was a friend of the show. We had him on our show. He's cool. Yeah, he's that type of player too. But he's a freshman. I don't know if they trust him there, yet. But at least Cole Cabana. Cole Cabana is a 10.5, 500-meter guy. Extremely quick, shifty, fast running back. I don't know yet. That'll also be a position that'll be decided in camp.
That one's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. Well, let's close that out. TJ, I really appreciate you being on the show. It's been a lot of good information. A lot of good recruiting stuff there. I really appreciate that. Give us the rundown again. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, I'm TJ Ronan. You can find me at Twitter at TJ_Ronan. We have I am on the Michigan channel, Michigan Football, the Voice of College Football. We have a Tuesday show at 8 p.m. Michigan Wolverines Live, and then I have a call-in show personally which is Thursday at 8 p.m., which always open to whether they're Michigan fans or rival fans. Call in. We have a good conversation. We actually have a very interesting, unique community where we have like Notre Dame fans. We got like 4 Ohio State members because we have members on our channel. Like, it's really unique. I mean, it's cool though because we're as long as the rivalry is respectful, we keep. I have no problem with any Ohio State fan. Just don't be crazy. That's really the rule. Just don't be crazy, and you're always welcome on our on our channel.
Excellent. Well, we're gonna let you go, but hang on, and we'll do our administrative stuff. Mac and I are just gonna finish up some things. But again, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
All right, see you.
See you guys.
Go Blue.
Go Blue. All right. Okay. Well, that was really awesome having TJ on. It was kind of like having Big Ted 10 on. He knows all of his stuff.
All of this stuff. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody in the chat for pitching in there and putting your questions out and your comments out. Really appreciate that. We have the Pigskin Showdown, our game on our teamrivalry.com website is coming together. We're going to have more details on that coming this week, including some preview videos on how to play the game. And then, as we've been saying, we're hoping to do a sort of an extravaganza show where we bring on a bunch of guys and call the games, before Friday.
Not live.
Not live.
Well, no, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The show would be live. We're not calling the game live.
I'm sorry, calling the scores.
Calling the scores. Yeah.
Score picking.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking forward to. Obviously, that won't be until the end of August because the games don't start until the end of August. But at any rate, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to check out all of the other videos we have on the site. We've got some old live streams. We've got some old trash talks. All cool stuff, fun to watch. Let us know if there are any other guests you'd like us to have on the show. We would be happy to try to figure out if we can get them on here. And as TJ said, check out Michigan football at the Voice of College Football. You can see our show, Point a Minute, on Tuesday mornings, where we pick up one of the latest stories and discuss it between Mac and I. We've also got a lot of great content over there from John D'Adamo and TJ and Ferris Khan. Ferris Khan Smash the Numbers is always really cool. Along with John's show and TJ's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, of course, leave us a comment you're leaving chats now, so that's great. You can also leave comments on the videos we post during the week. That always helps us out, gets the show and the channel noticed. We get some more subs. We're on that road to 1,000. We are so close. It would be a great goal to hit 1,000. What were you going to say, Mac?
I was going to check and see how many subs we're at now because I haven't actually been watching that.
Oh.
I don't know if we gained any during the show. 8:59, we gained a sub. Woo!
We gained a sub. All right. Thank you very much, whoever that was.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I think that's going to about do it for us. Unless, Mac, you got anything to add?
Yes. I found out while on the stream that they are not releasing College Football 25 for the computer, which means I also have to get an Xbox Series X.
Oh, great.
My beautiful, amazing, and lovely wife has said that I can't. So
it's an expensive system, man.
Here's the solution I've come up with. All of you become paying members and give me money so that I can play the game. I don't ask for much. I just want your money.
Not above begging. Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right. Subscribe so that Mac can get an Xbox. He's pleading with you, please.
Yes, please.
Otherwise, everybody else in the chat there, Antoine says, good show. Thank you very much, Antoine. Appreciate it. Good to have you guys around. A lot of great interaction in the chat. Have a great week. Oh,
okay. So Nevada Buck and Kirk Barton are felons.
Yeah.
In the chat? Yeah, that's formerly Connor Stallions.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, he changed or used a different. I had to ask because I'm like, are you new here?
Oh man. Well, you didn't say anything about softball either. His softball season must be over.
Yeah, hopefully that went well for you.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Yes, we'll be back next week, and we will talk to you then. Mac, take us out.
This is the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Good night, everybody.
And go Blue.
Go Blue.